There's no easy way to slice it. The Pittsburgh Steelers must be in a win-now mindset. At this point in the season, moral victories don't count, and potential doesn't win football games. Luckily, head coach Mike Tomlin understands that better than anyone. His Tuesday press conference was refreshing after fans and analysts endured a rare, actionless weekend. The Steelers' bye week couldn't have come at a better time. The team needed a breather. Several key players were nursing bumps and bruises, and a week away from the field allowed everyone to recharge both physically and mentally. But now, the rest period is over. The real work begins. Ahead looms a brutal 2-week stretch featuring back-to-back divisional games, starting with a road matchup against the Cleveland Browns. Pittsburgh knows the magnitude of these games. They know the tone they set now could define the rest of their season. And if Tomlin's words are any indication, the Steelers plan to lean on a familiar and time-tested identity, smash-mouth football. I just think that that's the fun and exciting part of divisional play, Tomlin said Tuesday, his voice steady and confident. Translation? Expect the Steelers to run the football. A lot. This is usually great news for Pittsburgh. Over the years, they've built their success on bruising, physical rushing attacks, the kind that wears opponents down and defines the culture of the franchise. However, the start to this season was rocky. The Steelers looked uncertain of who they wanted to be offensively. Arthur Smith's unit struggled to establish consistency on the ground, and the line's physicality was hit or miss. But in Week 4 against the Minnesota Vikings, something clicked. Pittsburgh's offense finally looked like the Steelers again. They rushed for 131 yards and averaged 4.5 yards per carry, their best performance of the year. What changed? Darnell Washington. The Pittsburgh Steelers know Darnell Washington is essential to a successful offense the second-year tight and gave the Steelers a much-needed edge up front. His size and blocking ability were instrumental in creating lanes for Jaylen Warren. Simply put, his presence made a difference. Tomlin clearly noticed, and he's not shy about doubling down on the formula that worked. We have a certain personality, particularly when we play 4-3 teams, Tomlin explained. That's why we drafted Darnell Washington. You can't play 4-3 teams with 250-pound tight ends. There are weight classes in combat sports for a reason. When you're going against 300-pound linemen, you better have somebody out there that looks like that animal. It was vintage Tomlin, part football lesson, part life philosophy. He's right, too. Washington brings an old-school toughness that fits perfectly in divisional slugfests. Tomlin went on to emphasize that keeping guys like Washington on the field is vital, saying it's unrealistic to expect smaller tight ends like Pat Freiermuth or Connor Hayward to consistently block defensive linemen in 4-3 schemes. And I agree 100%. If it works, stick with it. Washington should be on the field as much as possible until opponents prove they can stop him from making an impact in the run game. The reality is simple. The Steelers cannot win without running the football. They currently rank 30th in the league in rushing yards per game, 80. That won't get it done, especially against a Cleveland defense that's allowing just 75.6 rushing yards per contest, the stingiest mark in the NFL. Still, hearing Tomlin's conviction about the direction of the offense gives me hope. The plan is clear: get back to Pittsburgh football, physical, relentless, unapologetically tough. I'm excited to see how Darnell Washington's expanded role impacts the coming weeks. If the Steelers can control the trenches and set the tone on the ground, there's no reason they can't start this divisional stretch 2-0. After all, that's Steelers football, and that's what Mike Tomlin does best. The Pittsburgh Steelers announced news of a corresponding cut for a Week 6 roster move that was first reported on October 6th. Running back/returner Raheem Blackshear will officially join the practice squad, following the Monday news of his addition, and he'll take the place of recent Steelers signing Ja'Whaun Bentley per the team's social media account. Bentley is a veteran linebacker who has spent his entire career with the New England Patriots before briefly signing with Pittsburgh in September. The hard-hitting interior LB has suited up for 85 career NFL outings, including 2 playoff appearances. He's accumulated over 510 total tackles and 10-plus sacks, with 2 interceptions and 4 forced fumbles. Bentley earned a Super Bowl ring as a rookie for his contributions during the 2018-19 season. This was the final championship that ex-Patriots legend Tom Brady won with New England. Ja'Whaun Bentley fails to impress with Steelers, leading to roster cut when the Steelers first brought in Bentley. Some believed he would follow in the footsteps of fellow former Patriots, thumper Elandon Roberts. A contingent of Steelers fans has criticized the team for letting Roberts leave in free agency, and Bentley felt like the perfect replacement as an affordable, rotational linebacker with Malik Harrison sidelined. Unfortunately for Bentley, he must have failed to impress during his 2 to 3 weeks with the organization. Heading into Week 6, the Steelers have Patrick Queen, Peyton Wilson, Cole Holcomb, and rookie Carson Bruner at inside linebacker. They also added John Radigan to the practice squad in early September, just before Bentley. Head coach Mike Tomlin must feel that this is sufficient enough depth at inside linebacker, as injuries have begun popping up at other positions on this roster. Where do Steelers rank in AFC heading into Week 6? The Steelers are set up with a golden opportunity to win the AFC North in 2025. All three of their division rivals have suffered starting quarterback injuries, if you include Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, and each is now struggling to get back in the win column without their offensive signal caller at the helm. As it currently stands, Pittsburgh leads the division at 3-1 with Cincinnati at 2-3, started 2-0, and both Baltimore and Cleveland at 1-4. But even if the Steelers come out on top of a weak division based on the circumstances, how good are they really? Steelers Now writer Derek Bell answered that question on October 6, specifically discussing if he feels they are a top 4 team in the conference. I will start off by saying that the conference as a whole is by far in the worst state that it's been since I've been covering the team in any capacity, Bell began. We know that the Kansas City Chiefs and Buffalo Bills will be in the mix come January, but everything else feels like a jumbled mess. Coming into the season, I had the Steelers as the 7th seed in the AFC, but at this point, it feels like that would be a pretty disappointing outcome with how wide open things are. The Baltimore Ravens, who entered 2025 as Super Bowl favorites, have been the most disappointing team in the league to date, which has opened up the division for the taking, the Pittsburgh writer continued. I'm expecting the Steelers to handle business the next 2 weeks, but I want to see them face off with a legitimately good team, the Green Bay Packers on October 26, before getting ahead of myself. Make no mistake about it, a home playoff game should be the next goal for this team. Only the Steelers, Bills, Indianapolis Colts, and Jacksonville Jaguars have 1 loss in the AFC, but Pittsburgh only has 3 wins because of the early bye. The Steelers worked out edge rusher KJ Henry on Tuesday, KPRC2's Aaron Wilson reported. Henry was drafted in the 5th round of the 2023 NFL Draft by the Washington Commanders. He played college football at Clemson, where he totaled 51 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 6 passes defensed, and 9 tackles for loss in his final NCAA season. At the 2023 NFL Combine, Henry was listed at 6 feet 4 inches, 251 pounds. He ran the 40-yard dash in 4.63 seconds. Henry played in 10 games his rookie year, logging all 3 of his career starts. He had 19 total tackles, 1.5 sacks, for tackles for loss, and 2 passes defensed. In 2024, appeared in games with both the Cincinnati Bengals and the Dallas Cowboys. Combined, he played in 4 games with 3 tackles, 1 sack, and 1 tackle for loss. He's also had stints with the Eagles and Browns. He won the 2024-25 Super Bowl with the former as a member of the practice squad. Henry has 144 career special team snaps. Henry was not immediately signed after the workout.